I know. I've got another problem, and I'm sorry. You know, it's just a title, okay? It's just a series. But I do have a problem with Cristiano Ronaldo. We're going to talk about that in this video. I actually recorded this video last week, but with everything that's happened and the amount of problems that seem to be out there, sadly, when it comes to me and this channel, I held it back. But it felt prominent again, so it feels like it's something that I think we should talk about, because Cristiano Ronaldo as a superstar is undoubted in terms of the goals that he scores, and we're going to dive into the good elements of him as well. But there are some elements of his play that I wonder if they are helping the team, and that's what I want to explore in this video. We're going to have a look at all the stats, and at the end of this video I will ask you a question, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and I'd love to have a discussion about it in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel and by the end of the video you've enjoyed it, then hit the subscribe button and hit the like button as well. Let's dive into my problem with Cristiano Ronaldo. So the first thing I want to show you, just to understand that I understand that you understand what I understand, if you understand. Yeah, Ronaldo scores goals. We know he scored goals. All-time career, 794 goals and 226 assists in 1,083 appearances. Club career is a joke, 679 goals. International career is probably even more of a joke, 115 goals and 32 assists in 182 appearances. There's no doubt that he is one of the greatest players of all time, if not the greatest, depending on your view on that argument. That's not what I'm diving into. I'm not talking about the past. I'm talking about the present, and I want to talk about what he offers Man United at the moment. So, if you are someone who feels like, look, his job is to score goals, and anything outside of it doesn't really make a difference, it's not important, that's not his job, it's not your job, if you're Roy Keane, to quote the man himself, then you can leave now, because this isn't about that. This isn't about the goals that he scores. It's about his overall contribution to the team, and if he is helping Man United. Is he helping Man United? Another question, does anyone turn down this transfer if it becomes available to you? Of course you don't. Of course you take Cristiano Ronaldo. You have to. But will that, down the road, be something that actually hurts Man United more than helping them out? Because I think what we're seeing in terms of the overall play of Manchester United right now is a team that is not totally there in terms of its plan, with the ball, without the ball. And Ronaldo is a big part of that. And when you're looking at Ronaldo and his sort of place amongst the elite, right? If you have a look at FBref, what you can see when you scroll down a little bit further from his scout report are the players that he should be similar to, the players that you should be comparing him to, the players that I should be comparing him to when I'm making videos about what Ronaldo's doing. Because this is the top, right? This is elite football. And Ronaldo has been in that world throughout his career. And so he has to be judged by those standards. Yes, of course, he's done so much in the game. But when we're comparing him, we have to compare him to the world's best. And those names on that list are the world's best. We'll come back to that in a second. But I think you probably know what I'm going to get down to. And it's two things. First of all, it's defensive contribution. And then second of all, it's sort of build-up play, and how is he helping or hindering Manchester United? So first of all, let's have a look at the defensive pressures for Man United, because I think this is important, right? If you're a counter-attacking team and you're going to sit back, then fine, you're not going to pressure as much as other teams. But Man United have generally played teams that in every game they played, they should have won that game, right? And secondly, they should have dominated those games. So with the expectations rising, the players that they've got rising, you expect them to dominate possession, which overall they have done. That is true. I think they're second when it comes to possession in the games that they've played. But you also expect them to kind of get at the opposition and go and win the ball back. When it comes to pressures overall, they are fourth bottom currently in the division. So they're not really going at it. Part of that is down to the fact that you have a lot of possession, and I think that's worth saying, because Man City, they dominate the ball just as much and are doing really well this season, and you see them up there, right? Otherwise, you see also Chelsea mid-table. So we're not expecting them to be right at the top. Teams like Liverpool also down here because they're dominating possession. So that's not the end of the world, but I guess it's ultimately a little bit disappointing that they're maybe not a bit higher. The same goes with successful pressures. But again, you could have a go at that and say, look, Man City are right there next to you. The point I would like to make is on Ronaldo and Ronaldo's role in winning the ball back for the team. Because if you go to Manchester United stats and look at what Ronaldo is contributing as that central striker, the defensive contribution is severely lacking. So here's Ronaldo, and here are the pressures of the team. Here are the pressures of the team. And he's pretty low. He actually was behind Victor Lindelof recently. And that's one thing in terms of his general pressures, because he might be someone that, you know, when the ball's further up the pitch, he's not getting involved in that. I think the bigger concern when it comes to his defensive contribution, because you want to win the ball back and you want to win the ball back as a team, and he's often going to be that trigger. And you saw it a touch more. And I do wonder if this will, well, not age badly, but he will have to maybe tweak the way that he plays to press more, to be a bit more of a team player in that sense, because the way he helps the team is by scoring goals, of course. But I think in the Premier League, I think he's having to offer a little bit more. And we're going to dive into his role at Juventus, because he's the same player as he was last season as well. But we'll dive into that in a second. Coming back to this, it's in the attacking third that there needs to be some concern here in what he's putting forward for the team, especially when it comes to per 90 stats. So again, if we go to pressures, first of all, he's right down the bottom there. Harry Maguire's got more pressures than him. Varane's got more pressures than him. You know, players that actually should be sitting off, you know, the likes of, you know, Nemanja Matic much more as well. He's generally seen as a defensive midfielder for the team as well. Now, overall pressures is one thing. You know, he is a striker. He is older. He doesn't want to do that all the time, and that's okay. But it's the pressures in the attacking third. I think that's where I'm a bit disappointed with him, and I feel like that was something that I was concerned about a while ago, and that's why I kind of wanted to look into this and spoke about this last week, but didn't put the video out, right? Because in terms of attacking third pressures, the final third, he should be, as the striker, he should really be up there for them, and he's not. And if you think of the other players that are up there for Man United, you know, they are generally forwards, they are attacking players, right? So the team as a whole wants to. These are all attacking players that want to press for the team in terms of the attacking third. But for him to be on 1.36, that's a long, long way off anyone else. Any of those other forward players. Long, long way off. And that's ultimately a problem. Coming back to those players that we should be comparing him to, because he is one of the best strikers in the world, so he should be compared against some of the best strikers in the world. If we have a look at him compared to, you know, the likes of Mbappe, Immobile, Lewandowski, you know, Kramaric, I'm chucking in there, Messi, Correa, Zapata, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Let's have a look at the defensive stats with that. And we're going to have a look at his contribution to the game as well in terms of his expected assists. But in terms of defensive actions, so number of times applying pressure to opposing player who is receiving, carrying or releasing the ball. These are things that it feels like the likes of Ronaldo and Messi are kind of above it. And that's fine if you can find a way for that to work. But at the moment, that's not what Man United have been able to do. And thus, it feels like it's a little bit of a problem. In terms of pressures, he is right down the bottom of those top five, those other strikers that he would be up and against, right? And it's not even close. It's incredibly damning. You know, 17, and then the next lowest is Kramaric, 57, 59, Lewandowski. Benzema, 78 pressures so far this season. Mbappe the same, Immobile a lot more. That's got to be taken into account in terms of a team that last season maybe didn't have the same quality, certainly didn't have the same kind of clutch ability that someone like Ronaldo brings to the team. And again, it's all about goals at the end of the day. So you can throw away everything I'm saying if you want to. But for me, I feel like this lack of effort, for want of a better word, due to be it age or whatever it might be, is hurting Man United in terms of getting them the ball and getting them the ball higher up the pitch. If you're allowing the opposition to come through, like we saw in the Leicester City game, you're going to get hurt at some point because there is so much quality in the Premier League. And that means that when it comes to the fine margins of winning a title or not winning a title, that could hurt them. Let's move on to build-up contribution as well, because there's a couple of things that I think are interesting and, again, making it feel clunky. I'm thinking, why are Man United feeling so clunky right now when it comes to them with the ball as well? And, again, I feel like Ronaldo is hurting the balance of the team just a little. Again, if you want to just focus on the goals, then fine. Ronaldo right up there, and that's absolutely fine. And when it comes to expected goals as well, we know he likes to have a lot of shots, and that's fine because, again, you've seen the amount of goals he scored during his career. You allow him to do that. But does that help the team as a whole? His expected goals is 3.79. He's scored 3 goals so far. So he's kind of bang on with that in terms of his chances. There's no doubt he has that quality. But in terms of the overall contribution for the team, first of all, let's have a look at XA. So how much he's kind of helping the team and creating chances for the rest of them. Again, that's not overly his role, but I think you would hope for a little bit more, because look at him. Instead of being right at the top, like the likes of Fernandes, and we'll have a look again at those other strikers that we should be comparing him to, he's quite far down, 0.14 expected assists per game, and so far no assists for Man United at all. So there's only so much data on Ronaldo right now, but thanks to Maram Al-Bahana, who's got a fantastic Twitter account, it's at MaramPer90, PERNINETY. There's a link in the description. Go and check out the fantastic graphics that she does. What we can have a look at is the involvement of Ronaldo last season for Juventus, because I think we're looking at the same player this season. It's not a player who's changed and tweaked, and maybe in the next few months he will change and tweak, but this is what Moran put together, and it just shows how involved Ronaldo is in the build-up play for a team in terms of moving them up the pitch and helping them out. So as we can see here, Moram's divided the possessions into 2 categories. So blue is representing when the ball was successfully moved on to the next phase. Pink is representing when the ball did not move on to the next phase, aka the ball was lost. So the larger the circle represents how long Ronaldo was in possession of the ball. So there's 3 boxes here, and you can see it's kind of working up the pitch, right? So with the first box, what you can see is that actually he doesn't really get involved that much. And this is why it can be a little bit detrimental to the success of the team, I think. I think he's used to playing in a team that's able to work the way up the pitch a little bit better than maybe Man United have been able to, maybe in a less hectic league, I don't know. But he often doesn't want to get involved that much and doesn't get on the ball that much. That's down to the fact that he wants to be in the final third. He's looking for that space in behind at times. He's looking for those runs. He's looking for those goals. And you get the feeling that Cavani would look after the ball maybe a little bit better in these areas in terms of keeping a hold of the ball. Moving on to the second box, this is where I feel like you see his impact. And I think for this team, it's one that is hurting some of the other players in the team. Take a look. So what you can see in the second area is that, yes, he gets on the ball a lot more. And that's, it's Ronaldo. It's okay. But the problem is he likes to drift into those wide areas. And so for a central striker, he's not always driving into the box. He is sometimes, but he likes to kind of get into this middle area and pick up the ball quite often. And that's hurting the likes of Bruno. If you think about how brilliant Bruno was last season, he had the run of the pitch, and it was something where the focus was really on his shoulders, but he was able to deal with that burden certainly last year. And that's kind of shown in the stats this year. Now, this is, of course, Juventus last year, but I think it's still relevant because if you watch Ronaldo, when he does pick up the ball, he does drift off to that left-hand side. It was his home, wasn't it, for a long, long time. But what that means is that you've got another player in that area and one less player in the central areas. And Bruno, for example, Bruno is averaging 34.8 touches in the middle third per 90 last season. This season, he's only averaging 28. So he's not getting on the ball as much. And I think when Bruno was getting on the ball last season, he also had bodies in front of him to play into, or that space for him to go and take those shots himself. But you've got someone like Ronaldo who's going into a left-hand side of the pitch that is really, really congested. You've got Pogba out there. You've got Luke Shaw trying to get involved in there. Now, this may all change when Rashford's playing more regularly. Sancho's over on the left-hand side. But you've got a lot of players on that left-hand side. And Ronaldo just adds another player. And this works if there are overloads and quick interplay. But so far this season, there hasn't been. And the third box highlights something that I think we all knew, that Ronaldo is quite a selfish player. He wants to go and score goals. That's why he's got these incredible numbers that he's got. And what you can see here with the amount of pink dots is the fact that when he gets the ball in those areas, generally that is the end of the sequence, right? He's not really looking for those passes. He's looking to get those shots off. And that's shown again this season because for Man United, there's not a player who's having more shots per 90 than Ronaldo, 5.29. We know this is how he plays, but also in terms of the XG of those shots, 0.2 XG per shot, according to Understat, means that he's taking kind of low chance shots, and that can lead to an element of frustration at times. But Ronaldo generally scores overall. We've seen that throughout his career. But for the team in total, This is what I'm getting at, right? The fact that, in summary, Ronaldo, we know who he is. And is that best for the team these days? There's no doubt that he will score goals for this team. But if you look at the teams that have won the title in the last couple of seasons, Man City and Liverpool, they are teams. And they have balance and they have work rate. All three of those things. And they don't carry any players whatsoever. Can you carry a player when it comes to build-up contribution, especially a team like Man United who struggle in that central midfield area, maybe to progress the ball a little bit and need that out ball? And can they carry a player who won't press really for the team? To come back one last time to the players that Ronaldo should be compared up against and look at that expected assist, his involvement in the build-up. Ronaldo here is expected assist 0.3. And if you compare it to everyone, again, right down the bottom there. Right down the bottom. Ciro Immobile, who we've already seen works so much harder for the team in terms of 104 presses so far, is at 0.8. And then after that, a lot more involvement in terms of helping out the team. So, look, as much as I'm offering elements of nuance here, I think there is the basic line that if he scores goals, then shut up, James. And feel free to tell me to shut up. That's absolutely fine. That's kind of what this channel is often about. But it's about looking at, is he good for the team? And that's the question I wanted to ask you right at the end. We know Ronaldo's great. It's not about that. Is he allowing Man United to get the best out of the entirety of the squad? And is it not as simple as that, of saying, yeah, okay, he is going to score goals, but overall he's not good enough for the team? Is it one where we're still waiting on those best players and Sancho to come over to the right-hand side, or to utilise Cavani a bit more, and maybe it's taking away some of the minutes from Ronaldo? The problem you have is that it's Ronaldo. And when it's a Ronaldo, it becomes about him. And that's where a lack of chemistry, a lack of fluidity, lack of fluency in terms of how you're playing comes to be, because he is that magnet, he is that lightning rod, and he is such a fantastic clutch player. But is he hurting Man United in any way? Let me know what you think. Let's have a chat. Let's have a discussion in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, then please do consider hitting the like button for me, and subscribe if you're new as well. Hit the notification bell as well. I think over 50% of you guys haven't hit that bell. So if you do fancy being kind today, then do consider doing that. And I'll see you guys in the next one.